Hello, this is Hilton Samuel of GodWantsYouMarried.com, and we have been looking at a series called the 12 Christian Dating Myths that may be keeping you single. We have dealt with 10 of them. If you haven't heard any of the 10, we recommend that you go and listen to them again. If you want all of the 12, we're happy to send them to you. We will land them directly in your email if you go over to GodWantsYouMarried.com. If you click on the link on that, or the link of the button that says 12 Dating Myths that may be keeping you single, we'll be happy to send them to your email account. Now, let's get right into our 11th myth, which is the older I get, the less likely it is that someone will find me. The older I get, the less likely it is that someone would want me. And this is probably more applicable to women than it is to men, although men do have some limitations too. And, we use the term biological clock. It is true that as a woman grows older, then several things happen. It's evident that they lose their youthful beauty. It's also evident that their capability and ability to have children decreases and complications occur as they get older. So the term have been coined, or the biological clock. So there is a window that is optimum for a woman to get, to attract, settle down, marry, and have children. And, that window is usually in the early 20s, upper 20s, and, and early 30s. But that is not to suggest that it is impossible or totally improbable that you can't get married over 40, over 50, over 60. I'll give you some examples a little later. The second cousin to this myth is a theory that suggests, I was doing a workshop one day and of Christians, and interestingly it was geared for Christian men, and a whole ton of women came into my workshop. And one of the things one wonderful young lady said to me, she said, look, the men in the church don't want any woman who has children. So there is that concept that when you have children, you are less attractive, you are less likely to get a prospective husband or spouse. Now, again, I'm going to identify a couple of things that research have shown that men tend to prefer women without children, and understandably so. Men also tend to prefer younger women, and that is self-evident. They like a fertile woman, they like the ability and the capability to make children. Now, that is not to suggest that if you have children, that you will not attract a spouse. That is not to say that it is impossible or improbable to attract someone even if you have children. Now, I'm going to now take it from a level of Christianity. Now, first of all, God is a God of the improbability, impossibility. God is not limited by the limitations that we see around us. That is that point that I'm making here. There are many examples in the Bible. For example, Sarah, who was way past childbearing age, but yet God made it possible for her to have a child. So, let me also suggest, in the beginning of time, Adam didn't have the likely, let's just say here, let me just say here, that in the case of Adam, when he looked around and he saw the animals, he saw them paired off, he recognized that there wasn't any being that was similar to him. So it was, according to Adam's perception, virtually impossible for him to have a spouse. But God had other plans. God had other things up his sleeve, as it were. Put him to sleep, took a rib out, and gave him a wonderful mate. Similarly, God has ways of providing you with a spouse, with a partner, with a husband, a boyfriend or husband, a fiance, of which you know nothing. He has many ways, 1,000 ways to do this, of which you know nothing. So you need to have faith. I'd like to give you a story. When I was younger, there was this teacher, very ardent Christian woman called Sister Mary D. And of all people in the world, most of us thought that she was a dedicated eunuch. She was a wonderful lady, very vibrant, very energetic, very dedicated with her Christian faith. And in her 30s, her 40s, her 50s, she went on. People just simply got accustomed to the idea that Sister Mary D is a single woman. You want to call it a professional single, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it. She was a dedicated single Christian. She didn't get married. She didn't have any children. And most of us thought that she was a virgin. To our shock and pleasant surprise, when Sister Mary D was in her upper 60s, she traveled. I think she either came to England or America from the island of Montserrat. And, next thing we hear that she was getting married. Sister Mary D got married in her late 60s. Would you believe? Would you believe? That was a modern miracle. We were all pleasantly shocked when we heard that. But that proves the point. It doesn't matter what age you are. There is someone out there who would be happy to couple up with you. There is someone out there who will be delighted to find the person like you. And we're not going to close our eyes to the apparent realities, quotes and quotes, but God is a God of the impossible. Remember when Jesus was on the mountain and he fed over 5,000 people with a couple loaves and fishes. And he did it twice. There was a time when the disciples fished all night. And they were discouraged. They gave up, and it was morning time. Jesus said, "Throw your net on the other side." It didn't make sense to them. They threw their net, and they got a catch. So many fishes that the net was breaking. God is a God of the impossible. So don't give up. There is hope for you. Some people, while they get a little older, late 20s, early 30s, and the biological clock is ticking, they get very antsy, very itchy, very, am I going to get, and they decide that they will just settle for anyone who comes along. Usually they make the wrong choices. But don't fear. Do not fear. Stick to your guns, stick to your standards, stick to the principles, stick to the boundaries and borders and values of your life. And you will be amazingly surprised that you will attract the right person for you. So don't fall for the myth that the older you get, the less likely it is for you to find someone, or the less likely that someone will want you or desire you. There are also, if you're a single parent, there are also single parent dads. There are also, if you're in your 40s or 50s, there are also people who have been either divorced, who've never married, who are widowed, who are looking for someone like you. They may decide that they don't want any more children. So there is always someone, somewhere out there, that if you have faith in God, God will lead you to them or lead them to you, so that you would have a wonderful Christian spouse to get married to. Stay strong, stay faithful, stay blessed, and God will certainly reward you with a great Christian husband or wife. Talk soon.